Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for being here. Today we are going to do kind of a silly little get to know you video. I have done one general kind of Q&A video before, but one of my favorite genres of questions to talk about is those kinds of icebreaker questions, getting to know you questions, but ones that are a little silly. Like, I don't really want to be asked, what's your 5-year plan? Stressful question. I don't want to know about that. I do want to know what kind of vegetable you'd think you'd be if you were a vegetable, you know? So most of the questions we're going to do today are not quite that silly, but questions that are a little more niche, a little more unique. Something that's kind of funny, a little quirky, a little bit of a get to know you. So this will be a soft-spoken, rambly, chatty video. If that sounds like your cup of tea, I hope you will come relax with us. Come get a cozy drink, get cozy in your bed, in your chair, wherever you are, and relax with me. So, first things first, I have a little short list. I pulled together questions. Most of these are from a list I found on The Good Trade, and I will put a link to that main list in the video description. I just picked some of the questions that I thought were interesting to me. First things first, do you have a favorite dish to cook? Now, I will say, I think I am more of a baker than a chef in general, but if we're talking cooking, I need food to be fast. I am easily distracted, and when I am like cooking a meal, if it's not ready in 10 minutes or less, I'm like, I'm gone. I have ADHD, you know? But what this means in large part is that I love eggs. Eggs to me, perfect food, great source of protein, delightful to look at, bright, happy yellow color. You can have them for any meal of the day, and sometimes I will have them for multiple meals of the day. And my specific culinary niche, I think, is I have tried and will continue to try to cook eggs every way that you can cook eggs. I mean, and so that includes like the very common, what I'm doing in the day-to-day is usually scrambling eggs or just frying eggs, but I love an omelet. I like to make a rolled omelet. I have tried graving eggs. I have tried coddling eggs. I love to poach an egg. If there is a way to cook an egg that I find, I'm like, well, dang, I guess I've got to try it. They are a perfect food to me. I find them charming and also cute to look at. I love chickens, all of the above. I do my best to, whenever I can, get my eggs from nice, happy local chickens, so I can go to one of my neighbors and see their beautiful, happy chickens who get all excited when you come up, pull up to grab some eggs, and then get to take those home. It's a great experience all around. I love it very much. But if I'm cooking, it is probably eggs. Second question, do you play any musical instruments? Right now, not really. I have always been primarily a vocalist. I am a singer. I'm a classically trained soprano. That is my real go-to. But I have historically played a few instruments. Mostly I did piano and I did flute. I was never great at either one, but I was like passable, you know. I can bang out a tune. But really, piano I fell off of once I had to start doing, I could do different notes with each hand, obviously, but once I had to start doing 2 different rhythms with each hand, I'm like, I don't know about all that, guys. That seems complicated. So I don't play piano or flute anywhere near as much as I used to. I still have my old flute. I should pull it out at some point and see what I can do with it. I think I remember the basics. I feel like very confident that I could get the embouchure right, and I think I can figure out like a few of the basic finger positions for it, but I would have to do some review. I think that would come back easier though. That one, flute always felt more approachable, but to be fair, I think it's partially because flutes are, you know, basically the sopranos of a band or an orchestra, in that you're almost always playing the melody line, which often makes things a lot easier as a performer. I am a little spoiled in that regard, where I'm like, well, I do what the song's supposed to sound like and don't have to do anything too complicated. Again, for the most part. Hey, I did my time doing looped madrigals. It wasn't all easy, but I was a little spoiled, and I acknowledge it. Classic soprano privilege. Alright, next question. What is the last show you watched and loved? This is a good question. I do a lot of rewatching of shows that are nostalgic and fun to me. But the last show I think I watched start to finish and was a fun surprise was the New Zealand mystery detective series Deadlock. It was actually the second season. I quite liked the first one, but the second season came out a few months ago, I think, at this point, and so I've been chipping away at watching it all the way through. It's so much fun. Really fun, zany detective series if you like a murder mystery. It is very, very fun. I love mystery and detective stories. Most of my favorite shows are, I shouldn't say most, a lot of my favorite shows are mysteries, but I don't go in for the ones typically that are too dire and too dark. I'm very emotionally affected by TV, by movies, by media, and if I watch something that's too devastating, too sad, I'm like, well, my week is ruined. I'm going to be depressed now, and I've got that covered already. We can't be doing that. So I like a show that, has stakes, has a real strong core mystery, but at the same time, it has some levity. My key thing is always, I'm like, I can't like a show unless at least two people like each other. I need some people to be friends. I need some people to care about each other. I need that to be invested in the show. And I love the cast of Deadlock. I think they are so charming. It's very much like an Odd Couple setup where they have very straight-laced, very typical kind of by-the-book cop. She's a tall, lanky, beautiful lesbian with her who travels everywhere. Well, at first she lives with, later they travel together. Her much shorter, very cute lesbian partner who's a vet. They're lovely. I find them both incredibly charming, and I love their relationship. And she gets paired with a totally off-the-wall, absolutely zany, never by the book detective, and the two of them of course have to work together to solve some unorthodox crimes, and it's very fun. The cast of supporting characters is delightful. I love a quirky small town vibe in a TV show, and it totally nails it. Totally nails it. If you like any kind of mystery detective content, if you like a show that will shock you with murder details at one turn and then have you absolutely hooting and hollering the next, I highly recommend. Watch a trailer, see if it's your cup of tea, and you'll get the vibe from the trailer pretty quickly. But I loved the first season and really enjoyed the second as well. I hope they get more seasons. I don't know if they will, but I will definitely watch if they do. Let me have a little sip of water. Whenever I record on days where I've already been talking a lot, by the time I get halfway into recording, I'm like, why is my throat so tired? The trick is really, I wish I could record these first thing in the day. Well, not quite first thing, earlier in the day, so that I wouldn't have used my throat so much. But at the same time, you kind of have to do most ASMR recording in the middle of the night if you want to avoid sounds. And that's alright with me. I like the middle of the night anyway. Speaking of, I think one of the questions on here is, yeah, there it is. What time of day are you most fresh and productive? It's the middle of the night for me. I am essentially nocturnal. I don't do well in the daytime. on my ideal day, I would sleep entirely through it. Usually my own circadian rhythm is I see the sun rising and I go, uh-oh, time for bed. So my ideal is really like sun goes down and I'm like, ooh, my day is just getting started. Let's lock into this fresh, beautiful day ahead. And typically after midnight, like 1, 2 a.m. is really when I'm like kicking into gear and ready to get stuff done, which is wildly inconvenient for anything that I have to do with other people, but delightful for me. Really bad for making it to anything, and like within business hours though. I am always playing phone tag with anybody when I have to make an appointment or something. I'm like, this could have just been an email. Like, don't call me. I'm not going to be answering because I will be asleep. We make it work. Okay. Next question. What's your favorite podcast? I love a lot of podcasts. I usually go through phases where I will listen to one or the other obsessively for a while. And then again, in ADHD fashion, forget it exists for a long time. I will say the only podcast I keep up with, like, totally consistently, very, very classic, My Brother and Me. That one, I'm like, every Monday, I'm like, oh, thank goodness. I have a little something to listen to while I make my breakfast, while I do my morning routine. That one I will clock in for pretty much every week. I'm admittedly behind a couple weeks right now, but I've been busy. But that one is like the only podcast I am up to date with. It is my go-to. It's just so chill and fun, and at this point, you know, they are many years into the podcast, so I'm like, oh, they're my old friends. Those are my guys. My brothers, really, if you think about it. But I have a roster of other podcasts that I filter through as well. I would say, like, probably the most notable mention for me, aside from that, in a very different direction, like instead of just silly goofy, I love, what is the name now? I'm suddenly blanking on the name. Hold on. I just had it in my head, but now it's disappeared. I know it starts with a W. Hold on. I will find it. There it is. Worlds Beyond Number. It is it's mostly D&D, but I think they branch out sometimes. A TTRPG podcast, which I know it is a saturated market. There are a lot of those, and there are a lot of good ones. This one I highly recommend. It is run by Brennan Lee Mulligan of Dimension 20 fame, Abria Iyengar, who's also been part of D20. She's played with Critical Role. She does GMing in her own right. Lou Wilson, who, incredible comedian, does a lot of Dimension 20, does a lot of Dropout stuff. And Erika Ishii, who does, again, a lot of Dropout content, but also incredible voice actor. Really, really all impressive resumes, and all of them are such talented actors and improvisers, and it is one of the most just like wonderfully structured improvised podcasts. It is so beautifully improvised that it feels like such a both fully fleshed out story, but something that is so personal and so genuine and feels so real and emoted. It is beautiful. I am incredibly far behind because, as I said, I get too emotionally affected by media, so I have to like ration out my listening, because I'm like, if we're like near a season finale or something, I'm going to be crying for an hour or so. So I can't. This is not a listen to everyday podcast for me. This is like, I'm going to sit down and lock in for 2 hours of like rolling emotions. But I love it from the perspective of somebody who has done a lot of acting and done a lot of various storytelling. I do acting, I do writing, I do, all sorts of different media. But the way they all know how to structure a story is so so beautiful. Like, it's genuinely such a masterwork of storytelling and of structure that I like. It's really easy to obviously get like swept up in the story, but if you really like take a step back and just look at how well put together it is so evident to me how talented the people involved are. And that's the 4 main cast members, obviously, but also the production of it. Their sound designer does incredible work, so the whole thing feels so atmospheric. It's just a beautiful, beautiful piece of work that I love a lot. And this is, hey, a good reminder for me that I should go back and be strong and listen to a season finale that I've been putting off. So, a good reminder for all of us. Okay, next question. Do you have any tattoos? I do not, but I love tattoos. I love tattoos so much. I think they are so fun. I think they are so beautiful. I follow like dozens and dozens of tattoo artists on social media. I love tattoos. I love looking at other people's tattoos. I think they are so stunning. I think it is so cool to have art on your body. I love, love, love the whole deal. However, I am very picky about what I will commit to having on my body. And so, firstly, I have symmetry issues, so I would have a really hard time getting anything that wasn't at least mostly symmetrical. Like, if I got something here, I would need to have something here on the other side to balance things out. Ideally, like, I would get something like on the central plane of my body, but also that's complicated. And I'm like, well, but what if I want to see the tattoo? Then it's harder to see if it's in the middle. So placement is a whole thing. And I'm also very particular about artists. I think I like looking at a whole range of tattoo styles, but I'm very, very particular about who I would actually want to tattoo on me. So like, what that means for me is I think it's incredibly unlikely that I will just, go get a flash tattoo somewhere around here. Like, or, when I'm just like on a little vacation, I'm not like that. My sister, every time I see her, she's like, look, I got 4 new flash tattoos. And I love that. I think they're all so cute. That is not me. I feel like I will either go through my life with no tattoos, or I will like plan a full trip, month-long trip to South Korea to get a full back tattoo done in like 4 sessions. I think there is no in between. It would be 0 or 100 for me, where like I would either have nothing and just continue lovingly looking at other people's tattoos, or really invest, go all the way in, get something huge, and really go all the way. Just dive on in. And it's gotta be one or the other, I suspect. It's gotta be, it would really have to be the right situation, if the stars aligning with the right artist at the right time kind of deal. But hey, maybe one day. Maybe one day. I don't know. Only time will tell. Alright, next, how do you like to celebrate your birthday? Now, I'm the kind of person that I like to celebrate around my birthday. Hey, I love a birthday week. I love doing fun activities. I love hanging out with my friends. I love celebrating. But almost always on the actual day of my birthday, I am turning off my phone. I am turning off my notifications. I am staying home, and I am having the most relaxing day I can. I want to be entirely tuned out, turned off. I want to pick my favorite shows, my favorite movies, do my little craft, maybe play a video game that I've been meaning to play. I am so good at like putting off the relaxing, cozy stuff that I really want to do a whole bunch of other stuff, that my birthday is the one day where I'm like, nobody gets to stress me out. Nobody gets to disturb my peace. I am going to have the most low-key, just absolutely chill day possible. And I never regret it. I have a great time every time. My birthday is in March, so it just went by a little bit ago, and it was blissful to have a lovely, relaxed birthday. I always have some kind of nice birthday cake or dessert or something to look forward to. This year I had queued up a favorite play that I wanted to watch, and so I got to do a little theater on my home TV. I played my video game. It was great. I just want a peaceful, easy, cozy day, and that's what I try to give myself. Okay, next question. What is your favorite thing on your desk and why? I am a knick-knack bitch. I love to have little trinkets, little knickknacks, little bits and bobs. And my desk is like a catch-all for all of my little guys. It is covered in little figurines, some that friends have given to me, some that followers have given to me, some that family have given to me, and they delight me. I get to look at my desk and see all of my little friends, all of my little guys. So some of these are like different little figurines. Like I have a bunch of different little dragons who live on my desk. I have all sorts of different little silly guys. I have over here, I have this guy. Oop. He looks like a little ghostly, like bloop of marshmallow with bat wings, which always cracks me up. I have, let's see, I'm trying to see what I can grab without knocking things down. I have a little Hamtaro figurine. This is Cappy from Hamtaro. He lives on my desk sometimes. He has a spot on the shelf, but I brought him to my desk one day, and he makes me so happy to look at that I never put him back. And then I have this guy. He's just a rock, but he's a rock with a face. This one my mom found on a dog walk, and she came home and said, "I found something for you." And I said, "What did you find for me?" And she said, "I found you a rock." And I'm like, "Wow, I love a good rock." And she said, "It has a face." And I saw it and I went, "Ah." I was so excited. And he's lived on my desk ever since, my little rock friend. But I am a chronic trinket collector. I love to have all of my little guys. Each one has a different memory. I get to think of the person who gave it to me, or if I bought it myself, something about the artist or the media that reminds me of something that makes me happy. I swap them out sometimes, rotate out different little trinkets and different little guys whenever I clean my desk or whatever it is. But they delight me. They make me so happy. I think they're so cute. I think they're so funny. I think they're very, very, very charming and a nice little happy-inducing reminder for me. So I keep all my little guys on my desk. Alright, next question. Sweet, savory, or sour? I don't care about sour. Sour's fine. I don't care about it. I am very invested in sweet and in savory. So I always thought I was more of a sweet person because I love a little sweet treat. I love to be baking something. I love to be having a little sweet treat. But I need savory. The thing is, like, in terms of how much I actually want something, how often, it's savory 95% of the time. I want to have big, hearty, savory breakfast. I want to have savory snackies. I'm a very savory girl. And then after I've had a day of savory things, I'm like, I could go for a little sweet treat. But then it's sick and twisted because after my sweet treat, I go, well, I could have just a little savory snacky since I just had something sweet. And I can kind of go in that cycle for a while. But I will say, I think fundamentally, I am mostly a savory girl who appreciates a sweet treat very much. Next, do you speak any languages other than English? Not fluently, but I am a chronic language dabbler. I have actually studied, taken the time to really study Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese, both Brazilian and European Portuguese. So I am not and never was fluent in any of them, but I have at various points been conversational in all of them. At this point, I think I'm probably best in Portuguese, because Spanish and Italian I studied longer ago. Portuguese, part of my family speaks it, and so I never really learned it growing up. But I always, I had the ear for it because I would hear my family speak it. So I've had an easier time picking some of that up as I've tried to study it more as an adult, which is very fun. The downside, I will say, of studying 3 Romance languages and being a forgetful person is that now when I try to think of how to say something in one of them, it's kind of a bit of a grab bag. I'll pull for a word and come up with something and then go, oh, was this one Spanish, Italian, or Portuguese? They can kind of get a little muddled in my mind, which when so many of the words are similar, it can be tough to figure out the right one at the right time. But it is very helpful to have a decent vocabulary in them, so, you win some, you lose some. I would like to get better at all of them, but I'm easily distracted. I can maybe handle one at a time. I say as I'm off my app training streak for my Portuguese studies, so I digress. We gotta hustle because I hear birds singing outside, which means we gotta get through a couple more questions. All right, next question. If you could only watch one show for the rest of your life, what would it be? And that's such a good question. There are 2 shows that I think immediately pop to mind. I feel like it would have to be a cozier show for me, and so Great British Bake Off, it's up there. I do really enjoy it. I think it is so fun. It is so cozy. I look forward to it coming out every year. I fall in love with a new batch of contestants every time. I do rewatch it. However, I feel like any kind of reality TV has a lower rewatch value. I will rewatch it, but I need to take a few years off before I rewatch a season, or else I'm well, I know who goes home at the end of the episode, so it can still be worth a rewatch, but not over and over and over again in the same way to me personally. What I will watch over and over and over and over again 10,000 times, Midsummer Murders. That show is 100 and something episodes long. It's on its 24th or 25th season, and I have watched every episode. I will say at least for the earlier seasons, probably at least 10 times. The most recent ones I'm catching up because at any given point, when a new season drops, I will watch them all immediately. I love them. I have a great time. And then I just go back to my full series rewatch. I will just always have one going where I start from the beginning and I just work my way through. And anytime I'm sitting around, I'm well, what am I going to watch? What am I going to have on in the background? I need something to throw on while I have my breakfast or while I'm bustling around doing my little chores or whatever it is. And I'm well, I can always throw on a Midsummer Murders. I know them all basically by heart now. I don't have to pay a ton of attention to them. But they are my beautiful, wonderful mysteries. They are silly British murder mysteries. Every single one is a little absurd and all kind of grounded by having just a very stable, very kind detective at the core, which I love. That is the ideal I was talking before about where I need a show where people are friends. I know every day Inspector Barnaby will go home to his loving wife. He will have his assistant detective who he is friends with, and they care about each other very much. I will love their Emmy every time, their medical examiner. It's great. It's a perfect show for me. It is a murder mystery, but relatively low stress. It is so pastoral and British and relaxing. I'm yes, well, yes, Inspector Barnaby, I do want to sit down and have some tea and cucumber sandwiches after somebody got murdered. That sounds great, actually. Thank you so much. And I do that routinely, so have rewatched some of these episodes dozens of times, and I will continue to do so, so I'm kind of already living that. Well, Okay. Next question. If you had the chance to go to outer space, would you do it? Easy yes, absolutely, 10,000%. I love space. I love learning about space. I love hearing about space. I want to go so bad. I think space is beautiful and wonderful and magical. I want to see all of the stuff out there. I want to experience zero G. I want to be out there. Now I will say, the harder question I think is like, people are always like, oh, would you go out into space like on a one-way mission if you couldn't come back? Harder question. That one is very conditional. If I thought I had a good chance of like meeting aliens, of seeing something totally exciting and new, like going to live on a different planet, going to meet another life form, absolutely. Worth any risk, 10,000, 10 bajillion, 1,100%. I'm all over that. If I'm just going out into empty space, because the thing is, a lot of space is really empty. Like, hey, an asteroid is beautiful, that's wonderful, that's great. I can look at those on a telescope from Earth. I don't need to go into space to look at space rocks. Like, I don't really care about going to settle Mars too much. I'm like, well, we're on a different rock. If I thought I would see something compelling, if I thought there was a chance to see something totally new, totally different, experience a new culture, like, oh, without a doubt. But otherwise, not so much. Okay, next question. Work from home or in person? Work from home, 10,000%. In case you can't tell, from somebody who loves to sit and record her ASMR videos. It's from somebody who is doing my Twitch streaming. From somebody who has an at-home, work-from-home freelance career. I want to be home all the time. I love a job that I can do as I roll out of bed straight into my morning meeting. I love when I can have a meeting in my pajama pants, or no pants if it's summertime, let's be real. I fully believe in the work from home lifestyle. I love being able to be like, okay, well, I'm at work, but I do want a matcha, so I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to my kitchen and make one. It's the only way to live. And trust me, I have done my time at in-person jobs. I have loved many of my coworkers. This is no shade to anyone I've worked with or anything like that. I have done my time in retail, and I don't need to see that many people anymore. I have become curmudgeonly. I like to have my privacy and live my life as a happy little hermit. It keeps me peaceful. I have anxiety. I don't need people to stress me out. I want to have my chill time at home with all of my creature comforts and choose very, very carefully when I decide to leave that happy little bubble, you know? I much prefer the work from home lifestyle. Okay, next question. Minimalist or maximalist? Another very easy one. Maximalist, 100 bajillion, 1,000%. We're going big percentages today. Like I said, I'm a trinket girly. I love bits and bobs everywhere. Honestly, hey, bad example outfit to show this, because I love a maximalist outfit. You can at least tell I've got maximalist rings. I gotta have at least one ring for every finger. I've gotta have fun nails, or else what am I doing here? You know, the old Coco Chanel attributed quote of like, oh, well, when you, paraphrasing here, but when you leave the house, always take one thing off to be chicly dressed. Ignore that. Put 5 more things on. Put 5 more things on. Accessorize more. Have more fun with your life. Also ignore everything Coco Chanel said, because she's bad. Things I cannot and should not say on YouTube or in my Cozy Little ASMR video. But ignore Coco Chanel. Be a hater for Coco Chanel, and instead have fun with maximalism. I am such a deep believer in whimsy. I am such a deep believer in whimsy and having fun with stuff, and sometimes that means putting a fun, silly charm on my bag. Sometimes that means wearing 10 necklaces at once. Sometimes that means mixing garish colors. That means putting 400 pieces of art up on my wall, having a dozen plants hanging behind me with all of my little trinkets and knickknacks in there. I love having all the stuff I love around me, on me, with me, in my purse, wherever it is. It just, again, like this, I think it ties back a little bit for me into the ADHD mentality where I'm bad at remembering things if I don't see them in front of me. So having tangible, visible reminders of things that bring me joy around me do so much to uplift my mood, to make me really feel happy, feel joyful, feel invigorated, because I'm surrounded by stuff that I love. It's great. It's great. And to be clear, like, I feel like the ideal maximalism kind of philosophy is, you know, take a little of that Marie Kondo, what brings you joy mentality, and if it all brings you joy, then keep it. Great. You don't need to be drowned by stuff you don't care about. But if you have a lot of stuff, a lot of items, a lot of art, a lot of whatever it is, and that really brings you joy and is a wonderful, happy, joyful experience for you, me too, baby. Live your truth. That's what I'm all about. And now, as I'm seeing the sunrise, which is, as I said before, my bedtime cue, let's do our last question of the day, which is, what is your favorite part of your daily routine? And there are, I think, there are a couple to pick from, but I'll choose the one that I'm about to go do after this, which is I love doing my little skincare routine. I love doing, like, having a little part of my day that is carved out just for me to have a serene, relaxed, cozy space where I have to sit down and take care of myself. And I can't do too much else because, you know, I need to have my hands clean for my skincare products. I need to take some time because I've got to wait for products to dry before I can do the next step. If I'm feeling really fancy, like maybe I'll do a face mask or a light treatment or something that takes some time. It is like a time that's almost like meditation for me. And it is how I start my day, and it is how I end my day. And it is such a peaceful time, and it is like this perfect transitional window into and out of that kind of sleepy space and into the rest of my day. I especially love the nighttime routine where I just get to, it's like a sign that it is time to fully relax. Once I do that routine, I'm like, wow, nothing else can bother me for the day. My notifications are off. I'm offline. I'm tuned out. I'm having my peaceful me time. And that is the perfect way for me to wrap things up with a kind of tender moment of self-care and kindness to myself, and knowing that I'm doing something good for myself, which is, I think, something very easy to forget in your day or to not always prioritize. And that is a time for me that feels very cozy, very intentional, and very kind to myself, which I think is a good thing to have. However you find that, if you can find some way to put that into your daily routine, it's something that I have found very helpful for me and for my mental health. And it's pleasant. It's really nice and cozy. And I highly recommend finding an equivalent for you. But with that, I think that will wrap up. That's my short list of questions that I picked for today. I say short list, I've already been recording for over 40 minutes, so in classic form, I am a yapper when left unconstrained. But I do love doing these kinds of chatty videos, so I would love to hear if you have answers to any of these questions. I would love to hear your answers. I would also love to know if you like this kind of content, if you want to see more videos like this. Do you have any questions for me? Again, like I said, I love those kinds of silly questions.
You can be as silly as you want. Honestly, that'll probably make me more likely to answer it. But if you have any questions, any fun personality questions that you want answered, feel free to drop them down in the comments and maybe I will give you an answer in my next little Q&A video. But for now, thank you so much for listening. I truly hope you enjoyed. If you did, you know the classic. Consider like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. Even if you don't, I appreciate you being here. I hope you are cozy and relaxed and that you had a nice time. But for now,